In just a few weeks, we'll get to test the next Overwatch hero, Aqua or WUYANG. But what do we actually know about this hero? Let's have a look. As we near the second half of Season 17, we're also getting closer to the playtest for the next support hero for Overwatch 2. And when it comes to WUYANG, there isn't a whole lot that we know right now. But that is definitely going to change after the mid-season update. Now, I made a video about all of the content that we can expect for that mid-season update this weekend. Go have a look. However, there are a few things that they already told us about in, well, let's say the last few months. And there's a few things that we can figure out through the concept art that they showed off back at the Spotlight event. For one, we know that Aqua or WUYANG is going to be Chinese. We know that he is going to be a support and that all of his abilities are based on water. Now, the name WUYANG is also shared with a province in China, which isn't super relevant. And depending on the way you pronounce it, it can be translated as in good health, which seems pretty appropriate for a support hero. Now, looking at the concept art, we can tell that he is pretty young. He looks like a young whippersnapper. Do people actually say that? Yeah, I don't think so. He seems to have some type of special device on his arm. I'm trying not to call it a glove, but it kind of is like a glove, an arm glove. His arm is not fully cybernetic, his real arm is still under there, which makes him one of the rare Overwatch characters that still has all his limbs and both of his eyes. But like I said, he's still young. Anything can still happen. Now, in that art, you can see him manipulate a whole stream of water around his body towards a ball that he seems to be spinning on his finger, much like a basketball. Which gives me a bit of a Last Airbender vibe. And we know that the team is a fan of this series. They did that collab not too long ago. Was it last year or was it this year? They did a collab. And it is clear that they were inspired by this series with this hero. WUYANG's weapon is further proof of that. It very much looks like Aang's staff, or, well, glider basically. Although I don't think it is a glider in this case. But what is the purpose of this staff then? And how is water tied into his whole kit? Well, it could be in various ways. I think the most basic way of doing that is that he sprays people, much like Mora does, to heal them, through the strength and the healing qualities of the water. And that the water is gathered, created, I don't know what to call it, but through the glove, that the glove is part of all that. Now, on the first glance, I can't really see a container, which would suggest that he kind of draws it out of the air, and that's what I hope at least. I don't want to think about the other options. But again, what about the staff? It could be just a melee weapon that he uses to fend off enemy Genjis, tap him on the nose. Bad ninja. And I don't think this staff is tied into the water necessarily. Although, it kind of looks like it would make a great container, doesn't it? And if you look a little closer, you could actually see that there might be water in there. It's hard to tell on the concept art. If that is the case, however, he must be hydrated at all times. And I think he might need it, because I do expect him to be doing a lot of climbing, dashing, running, much like a ninja. Maybe he's going to use that staff to pull himself up to, I don't know, higher positions. He looks extremely athletic and very energetic. Look at that grin. If my cat looks at me in that way, I know there's about to be trouble. Same can be said about my girlfriend, by the way. He just has a very mischievous smirk on his face. Kinda looks like he hid a whoopee cushion in Reinhardt's armor and he's waiting for him to sit down. That would be funny. In the concept art, that orb is drawing a lot of attention. I've seen people theorizing about it, but it might just be a gimmick. Something that they use for emotes, victory poses, like a highlight intro, showing that he can control water. Because he might, like I said at the start, just do this whole kind of splashing people with water thing to heal them. It might have a cleansing effect, which would be kind of cool. And maybe he can twirl that water around people to protect them, like some type of water shield or bubble. I mean, there are quite a lot of cool options that they can do with water as a support. Now, how is he going to fit in all of the lore for Overwatch? Well, he is Chinese, so the first conclusion you might draw is that he might be tied into Luchang Interstellar, but he doesn't look much like a scientist or well, an astronaut. I mean, he's wearing very snazzy, techie, modern-looking gear, but you know what the thing is? I don't see a water wielder doing really well on places like Mars or the moon. If he's planning to do that, he will need a way bigger container. So I'm thinking we might see a completely new faction. I'm not going to go as far as claiming that it might be the Chinese Overwatch. I'm actually more thinking in the direction of Mecha. You know, like a defense force meant to protect him, versus the Omnic invasion. Now, I do wonder if he's going to be related to Mei in some way. I mean, there's a lot of people in China, I know. And look, Juno is already pulling that auntie card with Mei, so it's not very likely. Otherwise, Mei is going to start looking like a, I don't know, kindergarten teacher. Now, when it comes to skins and cosmetics, I'm kind of intrigued. Big objects like hammers and staffs like that one, they always make interesting weapons. Having that as a golden weapon? Oh, just in pure weight, it's going to be worth all the money. But on a more serious note, I think he might be competing with characters like Genji, for instance. They kind of have that same build. They kind of have the same options. Take the staff out of the equation. I'm also kind of wondering how easy he's going to be to recognize on the battlefield versus characters like Genji. I think it should be okay, unless he is indeed going to do a lot of climbing, dashing, running. Then it might get confusing. We'll see. It all kind of depends on his kit, on his movement, his animations. Those tend to be a big differentiator, so. And if not, I guess there's going to be a lot of jump scares for Ana. He might get a friendly sleep dart shot at him once in a while. I mean, we're going to find out soon enough. I'm expecting teasers and info on WUYANG to drop as soon as next week when the mid-season update drops. And then the test event is most likely going to start near the end of the month, maybe early August. But tell me, how excited are you for this new hero? Let me know in the comments. For now, however, that was it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It always helps me out. I also want to thank my patrons and YouTube members. You too can become a member over on patreon.com/theomnicpost and right here on YouTube to unlock exclusive rewards. If you have a few minutes left, maybe check out one of my other videos. But above all, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Bye bye.